Everybody. Welcome to the Let's Stay Together Talk Show. Your host, Reverend Rick McCain, along with my baby, my girl, my boo. How you doing, Miss Brenda Faye McCain?
Wow, he went there. I'm doing good.
That's your government name, huh? That's your legal name. That's your legal name. So I'm just letting you know. How you doing, baby?
I'm good. How about you?
I am doing fine. I hope y'all know we've got something a little bit different here. Which our setting is a little bit different. More of a casual setting. I'm waiting for Kenny to put us on the picture so we can see the background. But it makes me think, oh, he's got it there. I don't see it there. There you go. It's a different world. It's not that song. It says, I know my parents love me. Stick behind me, come what may. I know that I am ready. For I finally heard them saying, it's a different world from where you come from. It's a different world right now. We're doing something totally different here in November. Thanksgiving weekend coming up. We've changed the kind of the scenic design of our show. More of a laid-back feel. We can just enjoy the comfort of talking to you on Let's Stay Together Talk. I still got my baby. I still got my girl. I still got my boo. She is here with me. So, baby, what you got to say before we go? How you like the news, the digs? If y'all can't see it on Soar Radio, you're going to have to go to our Facebook or YouTube page to check it out. But I like the kind of new background that we have here.
I like it. It's laid back.
Yeah, this shows a little bit more. That means we got to dress up. We can't have on, that.
Darn it.
House pants and, shorts and stuff like that. You got to clean up a little bit. And I said I had to make sure I'm sitting upright. My mama used to say don't slouch. So I'm trying to make sure I don't slouch
Don't slouch.
But we got something going. And the world has changed. It's going to be a different world. We're going to talk about that a little bit. And it ain't gonna be a fun, different world. But what you got? Anything going on? People, places, or things, birthdays, anything you want to shout out? Prayer requests. We
it's
praying.
Somebody's birthday out there. I can't think of it right now. But happy birthday to you.
Yeah.
Lot going on. Prayers going up. Praise requests is going on for many family members and friends. I want you to know God love you, and so do we. Last week we a weekend of a nightmare.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that. I don't have any prayer requests right now. The Lord is always taking care of me. I love when an issue comes up, which I had today, but yet God has me prepared and capable of taking care of that issue. And it was something that happened, and I was saying to God earlier. We're gonna get into the show. Because sometimes as the old people say, Satan been just trying to be busy, and I'm like, you're not going to get me to be angry, upset, or mad at God. I mean, because I know that God can do exceedingly abundantly more than you can ask or think. And so when this situation came up, I was thankful for the problem because God had already provided provisions for me to take care of them. And so it's just call somebody, get the problem solved, and you move on. And that kind of attitude is what I'm thankful that God has given me in my life, is that I don't get upset about the small things. I mean, even if I didn't have the provisions, I know He can provide. You know, because God can do, as He said, a signal, but He can. It says, cast your cares upon the Lord and leave them there. And we have to have that kind of mentality. It takes some time to get there, believe me. I was going to talk about what God has for me. It is for me today. We're going to talk about that next week. But I just want to, share that with some people that are out there. If you're going through something, I know it just seems like right now it is a trying situation. But remember, Jesus is love. God will take care. He says, cast your cares. He's making it personal. He's letting you know that I love you. You accepted Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. If you haven't, all you have to do is say, Lord, I accept you as my Lord and Savior, and I live my life according to your will. In Jesus' name, amen. And now you're in the kingdom, God's kingdom. But if you've accepted Jesus Christ, He's made it personal. He says, cast your cares upon the Lord. Bring them to me. Bring them to your Father. And He says, after you do that, your faith will determine, I want you to hear this, your faith will determine if you're able to leave them there or give them to Him and worry. Because He says, and leave them there, meaning to depart, walk away, not think about them anymore. I know that's difficult, even for seasoned saints, that's difficult. But when we are able to live upon the promises and the word of God, and we can have by faith leave that issue there and say, hey, God's going to solve it, then that puts so much power in God's hands because of your faith and believing, hey, I don't have to worry about this. And it gets trying. So somebody out there that's going through this, God is telling me to tell you, I said, leave it there. I hope you heard. He's telling you, whoever you are, sister, brother, mother, father, cousin, kinsake, He's saying, cast it and leave it. Okay? Because if you cast it and you leave it, then God will, by faith, it's almost like going fishing. You don't cast out the rod and then pull it back. You wait until it accomplishes goal. You want it to catch a fish. What you're doing by faith is allowing God to catch your problem and solve it. And so you have to be able to do it. I don't know who this was for. There was a commercial break. This wasn't a part of our show. I'm all excited because I'm here today and I knew, different world thing. But we're going to go on because I'm a preacher and I can talk forever when I have to. Baby, what are we talking about today? This may depress us, but we shall overcome, as my brother King says.
For Christian Real, we're talking about Nightmare on Elm, Pennsylvania Avenue.
Yeah, I know you all remember that scary movie. One of my favorite movies was Nightmare on Elm Street. I know there's Jason out there, Halloween.
That's my favorite.
You got Friday out there, and you got Chainsaw Massacre, all these other crazy things. But Nightmare on Elm Street was really good for me because it brought in a realization of this could be this dream that you're having, this nightmare could actually be reality. And so all of a sudden now we're living the nightmare on Pennsylvania Avenue, where a time is about to come where Trump is going to be president again. Now, I know for most of y'all, we've already talked about that. I know so already if you listen to Justin's show on there. Now, why am I forgetting the name of the show now? What's the name of the show, Kenny?
Justin Morning, DJ.
Yeah, there you go. I was calling it the Justin show, but it's called the JD Morning Show. You probably heard them mourning and in sackcloth and ashes about the fact that somehow or another Donald Trump won. And it's so vivid in my mind. I can remember, Brenda, the 4 years, I think about 8 years before when he won, I couldn't believe it. But I'm like, the nightmare on Elm Street or Pennsylvania Street is back again. They did have a sequel. They had a sequel to Nightmare on Elm Street. And we're now about to get ready to live that sequel. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm a little bit depressed and bothered about it. I am a CNN, MSNBC person 24/7. I have not watched that since Tuesday. I can't
You're
do it.
in mourning.
I am in mourning. I'm literally in mourning. I know it says cast your cares. I'm like, well, Reverend, you just said we ain't talking about that. Don't try to use my words against me. I'm in mourning because I cannot believe that this man
that don't
is
apply
here.
to you. Huh?
It doesn't apply to this situation. I'm still praying on this one because I cannot believe what happened and why this happened. I'm gonna let you talk because I am in mourning. I didn't have my sackcloth and ashes with me. I'm sorry, but I am mentally in the sackcloth and ashes phase right now.
Fellow listeners, Brenda McCain is in disbelief. I don't know. I just want somebody, today makes 7 days, somebody to pinch me, not slap me, just say, wake up. It has been a nightmare that's going to derail right on Pennsylvania Avenue in January. This has been, 8 years in the making, 4 years in the making, so to speak. The comeback came back, and it came back viciously, because this man has been out there campaigning for the last 2 years, and as I keep saying it, I know somebody else said it, but it makes so much sense. While we was playing checkers, that man was playing chess, and he just won the game. Because everybody like, how did that happen? It's a lot of people giving excuses and reasons for it. But when you think about it, babe, it should never have happened. Yeah. Never. But that let us know what time we living in, what the world we living in. That you could say it on the air. Racism is alive and prevalent, and only thing we got to try to do is stay prayed up and rat it out for the next I can't even say the next 4 years, because he probably got that set, like he said. It's like people didn't pay attention.
I think he might be able to try. And I think sometimes for people, and I've said this before on this show, if you ever listen to it, is that people don't realize that Hitler, who was trying to take over the world now, he wasn't just trying to take over places like, the Jews when in Russia, and then he went over to, different locations like Germany. Then he fought against the Soviet Union. Well, I wouldn't say Germany because he's part of Germany, Soviet Union, and then he was trying to take over other places. Hitler was nominated into office. They voted Hitler into the office, and now you've got a Trump in the office. It was just a nightmare. And I'm sorry, I cannot give.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I got it. Yes, I'm speaking.
This is our producer. Oh my.
Wait, half hour. We worked them up.
Go ahead. What you gonna say?
Okay, so I have to buck back at a little bit of this because I know we want to make it blankly as it's only racism, but I can't go there with that part of it.
Okay, so why can't
I can go with it some.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do believe there's a population out there that voted for him because they didn't want a biracial, let me be correct about it, a biracial person being in. And of course, obviously they always lean more to the black part about it, but she is biracial. That part. But I also believe you also have a population, which I think actually is the stronger one in this, is the sexism part, to having a female being in charge.
Well, I was going to get there.
I think that one is the one we really need to be focusing on more, is that one, because I believe that's your problem, because that goes across all races of people that don't want men that don't want to see a woman in charge. That's part of your problem too. And then the last one, I'm just going to be honest, is the economy. The way the economy is right now, it could have almost been anybody on the other side if it looks like a businessman, because that's the part that, and you even have heard it, if anybody that heard the coverage up to even the election day, it may not been, now they're talking about it too now, but leading up to the election, you heard so many people saying they don't care how he talks. They don't care about how the way he acts. They care about, when he was in the last 4 years ago, the economy was better. I had more money in my pocket. So that just tell you too that people, all they thinking about is their money. They ain't thinking about nothing else but their money. So I think those three things is what led to him winning.
Okay, so let's recap. 1, sexism. 2, racism. And 3, economy. I'm still trying to figure, and I totally agree with you on that, because he won both times, as you said the other night as well, with a woman running against him. So it lets you know, what is it, the Proud Boys? Yeah. We just want a man, because you let Obama get in there. It got to be a man up in there versus a female. And God forbid if the first female, as the world will see, that mixed race, beautiful woman, Kamala, but she is black to the world. So it ain't no way in heck we're going to let a black female outbeat, outrun, outscore, outeducate, outteach a man like Trump. So that, like you said, goes back to the sexism and the racism and the economy. I'm still so confused with that. When people say it's the economy, we was doing so much better. We was in COVID during the whole duration almost with him in office. How were we as the world, as the United States, doing better when we was locked down, shut down, stuff closed up, couldn't go out the house, couldn't do nothing, businesses closed up? How was we doing better? I don't understand that.
Here's the problem with that is most people don't think about how far ago all that was happening. Most people are thinking about now, oh, I'm paying blah, blah amount for groceries. Oh, I'm paying blah, blah amount for, gas or whatever. And they're thinking about now. They ain't thinking about, what maybe a couple years ago, hey, things might have actually been okay under Biden, but in the economy. But it's what can you do for me lately? That's how most people think.
Can I interrupt real quick?
Yeah.
Can they hear him, our people? This is a great conversation.
Yeah, they can
hear
him.
I just want to make sure.
Let me say this. One, the people perish because of the lack of knowledge.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Bible says. Kenny is absolutely right about that. But the fact of the matter is that because people just want to see the now and don't understand how we got there, they just say, I'm not doing good now. But the problem happened during Trump's era, and then Biden's era has corrected it, but it still is not showing them economically what's going on. So what's going to happen is Trump is going to get into the office, and he's going to benefit from what Biden has done and make it seem like he's made the changes. Mm-hmm. That's totally right. It is a shame that people can't look back. I mean, one of the great things about going to school is that they have a class called history. You got to know the history of things that happened. But people and Trump is smart enough to say you wasn't doing good now. Well, yeah, but you're the problem of why we're not doing now. It was your administration why we didn't. But as Kenny said, correct. They're just saying the economy is doing much better, but I don't see it. I don't see it yet. And Trump will benefit that. The second thing, sexism, that kind of blows me away. It's true, but for a woman not to vote for a woman,
yes,
and sexism is ridiculous.
That's the same thing when black people don't want to vote for a black person.
Yeah, that's true. What is that?
I'm just saying.
Let me take it there, though.
Blackism?
Well, let me take it there. As a woman, especially African American woman, that was a gut punch. If a black woman didn't vote, I know the other races don't have to feel obligated. We're obligated and determined when it's someone good. I'm not saying just stick anybody up there and we'll vote for. This woman was on top of her game with everything. But the thing in the time we living in now with Wade versus Roe, I don't understand how I'm gonna let the government control who and what and where I can go and do with my body. That just blows me away. I know it's deeper than the surface of saying that, well, you know what, they switch gears and everything. They feel the government will handle it. They we'd go back to the norm. I'm out of that age group of producing like that. I'm looking at the younger people like, you really are okay with, I'm not even going to say just the government, the male government controlling something that was overturned, 50 years ago, or was it 60 years ago? Whatever, however long it was. If Brenda was getting pregnant now, that's between me and my husband. The government should not be in it.
And we're going just a little bit off of that because that's been established already through the Trump era. I understand what you're saying.
Is it established?
Well, we got an established thing that Roe versus Wade has been removed. I'm concerned about he may take it to the Supreme Court and it won't be a state by state. It's just going to be removed and women won't have any choice at all. But for a woman to sit there and say, I'd rather vote for a felon than another female, and sexism is right because you got to remember Hillary Clinton lost by just about as much as Kamala Harris did because there were women that did not want to vote for her as a president. But I still think, Kenny and Brenda, that racism is at the top of the list. Yeah. It's got to be racism, sexism, and then the economy. Mm-hmm. But the thing about it is that because the people perish because of lack of knowledge, because they don't know. And Trump even said himself, if you keep on telling a lie long enough, they'll believe it's the truth. And we were not doing good during his administration. Mm-hmm. It's just like when Obama came in there, we were not doing good. He changed this perspective to make us do good.
Hope.
And hope. And now the thing has changed. But the problem I have is that they were saying that black men, one of the reasons why she didn't win it because a lot of black men didn't vote for her. And that bothers me. And we made a statement we shouldn't just vote for her because she's black. Yes, you should, because white people always vote for white people over any other race. Mm-hmm. And the thing about it is they've never really had to worry about that for a long time until you had Equal Rights Amendment coming in. The only people was able to run were white people anyway. And so it seems right when it's white, because that's the way historically, the only way you could, the person was running was that. Corporations are still that way. Look at your television shows. They're still more white. Look at your commercials. Your commercials are majority white. They made the decision to vote on white since they came to this world and took it from the Indians.
Let me play devil's advocate, as they say.
Okay, go ahead.
So some people's argument would be on that part is you're only, 15? I can't remember the exact percentage of what our population in the United States. Some people would say
13.
It's a little bit more than that. I think it's about maybe 16. 17,
we went up to 16.
It's dropped. You could look that up real quick. But go ahead, Kenny.
But I'm saying some people would say that. So, say the argument on that. So why are we so worried about it if we, actually are being somewhat represented in some of the commercials? I'm just, like I said, I'm just playing the other side on this.
I know you are.
But you know what, Kenny? You're absolutely right. And wait a minute. They had black people in commercials back in the 60s, too. It was mostly negative. And they had black people on TV shows. They were mostly playing, submissive roles. They were maids and stuff like that. If you look at commercials now, 90% of the commercials still are for white people. Mm-hmm. Are for white people. You look at television shows, they're for white people. What show do you know since the Cosbys that had a high rating? I know you got your girl who wrote the shows, but I'm talking about a black show.
All black, just the Cosbys.
Since the Cosbys, that was rated #1 for years, because white people are like,
they're safe.
This is we have to go to HBO, Hulu, other different locations to see black shows, and even to me that doesn't even look good because it's pimps and drug dealers and all that stuff. Like, what was that show was on? Boom, 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 bang, bang, bang. Empire was successful because it was talking about him being like a drugs and
bunch of drama.
Yeah, drama. So what I'm going back to is white people have always voted on that. Look at your news. The time you're going to see, and I said this before, I've been doing this, I've been looking at it for 40 years. The black news is always negative, and the white news is positive. And if it's something that happens in a white neighborhood, they're not going to tell you who it is. The person killed his wife. We're not able to give you the identification right now, but we'll let you know a little bit later. I mean, he has to do a heinous crime for them to show. But if it's a black person who stole something from a store, they got the video showing it. See Rick walking with that video, stealing that piece of candy. I mean, this is, and people, but when black people say, well, I'm not just going to vote for her because she's black. Yes, we should. Because the only way we're going to get our situations resolved is by population and power. We've got to increase the black population, and we got to put blacks in power. The Jews, they're not the largest thing, but they're in power. They have the power, the money, the backing. They've took their resources and put it together. We don't do that. Martin Luther King said back in the 60s that African Americans' finance was like the top 9 in the countries. If we pool it together, Black Wall Street was when we pulled things together. What's happening now? We're still enslaved with the thought process. I'm not just going to do that because that's a talking point that you put in somebody's mind. You don't just vote for her because she's black. Well, yes, you do it all the time, and I was one of those persons who said, yeah, no, you do it all the time. You voted in a felon. You voted in a man who sexually molests women, and you decide you rather have him in the office than a black woman who has Indian heritage.
You know what's sad?
How does that happen?
Okay, what's sad?
It's racism, and racism at the top for me.
What is so sad that on Facebook the next day, different race said, yes, I told such or such XYZ that I was going to vote for Kamala Harris. That's what I said. 12th hour came. I have the right to change my mind and vote for whomever I want to vote for. And yes, you do, America. You have that right to do all of that. But the thing is, keep it to yourself. Because no one will ever know, even though we knew through the polls and the voting, but would get me all the people who voiced it that was not an African-American heritage said, I'm going to vote for her, probably didn't. It's like, hey, I'm just trying to keep the peace. I'll say I want to vote for her. I love the fact she's a woman. She got a great cause. She's going to help out. But I'm going to just say it. I'm a white woman. And that's what that woman was. And she said, in the 12th hour, that video blew me away. I changed my mind. She probably was not the only one, babe, to change.
I got something I want to say about that one.
Okay, what you got?
Okay, so I also have heard some people saying, some people believe that the reason why America also voted for him was to keep the peace.
Keep what peace?
Oh, best believe.
Oh,
if she would have got in,
bleep would have broke out. Yeah,
DC,
but it ain't right.
DC had boarded up. They had fencing put up around the White House, government buildings. There was businesses that had boarded up their businesses in anticipation that there was going to be rioting. And I believe if she would have won, you would have had that. But I can tell you right now. Oh, no, let me finish, Rick. Hold on.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Have you heard anything about any of that happening now?
Oh, of course not.
Since he didn't, he won.
But let me tell you this, Kenny. Why don't we just, if they riot, why don't we just shoot them?
Just like they want to do us. That's what he said.
Can I say that? But that's what Trump said when when people was boycotted. He said that about Black Lives Matters. Can't we just shoot them? He said we can't do it. He said, well,
and why wasn't it?
Why don't you just shoot them to wound them?
Why they didn't steal they stole the election, right?
Right.
See, when he win, nobody steals the election.
This is the problem I have. This man can say anything he wants to. If they were so worried about there being a riot or keeping the peace, you think the United States Army can't subdue, 10,000?
Of course they can if they want to.
If they want to. So that's the thing about it. It's still racism. You come up with all these. Oh, we got to worry about this. We got to worry about this. No, we don't. We don't have to worry about anything. People talking about, well, we need Trump in the office because we don't want to get attacked. United States, nobody's going to attack the United States.
Telling y'all better get
Our
ready.
army, I mean, and we're already, the problem I'm having now that we're not even going to be part of, what is it? I keep on saying, it's not NAFTA.
NATO.
NATO. He's probably going to take us out of NATO now. He's friends with Russia and China. I mean, where we're going to go, that's why I just said, I said, hey, God, I remember in Kings, 1st and 2nd Kings, we had good kings and bad kings. We got a crazy ruler now.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand why people. I'm gonna tell you something. I said to Brenda and my sister, I said, I don't think there's no way that these white people are gonna put this black woman in office. I would love to see it out on that, but I'm still disappointed that race to me played the biggest part to the point they're saying we already had one black person in the office. We sure don't want another one this close. Wait, the world is going to hell. 2 black people in 20 years?
A century?
No.
In a century.
We can't have that.
Oh, no. That's a nightmare for
it
real.
blows me away.
13.6%.
Yeah, bro, I was going to say, you're right. 13.6, they're saying 13.6 African Americans is based on the 2022. Let's hope in 2024 it didn't go down.
Right.
Wait a minute. Now, 13 since 1980, the black immigration population has increased 5-fold. What? Yeah, between 1,500 to I don't know what they talking
18,
about.
20, 12.5 million African men, women, and
I
children.
didn't say I couldn't read it, baby. I said I don't know what they're talking about.
Oh, we were taken, from Africa and
Yeah,
sold to various slave trade. But you know what? It's always my point of all of this, Kenny, is that it saddened me. At first, I thought, did we as African Americans not support her the way that we should have? Absolutely, it happened. It did. It happened that way.
That might have been the case, and I think.
And with the men.
I think the black women
forth.
probably came forward 100-fold, not 100%.
They
I'm
said
sure
about
there was
99 point something percent.
I would say about 95%. Black men. I mean, I've looked at some black men, on the street like you probably didn't vote for that. I mean, I was indignant. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go to the altar and pray.
You gonna get on your knees now.
I was angry, but I'm gonna tell you something. What made her lose was white female.
Yeah.
Don't you think she didn't? Let me tell you something. Obama won because of black women and white women. Okay, they came up and grows and young people. Okay, white women failed her because they were saying, we don't want a black woman in charge of us at our jobs. I know we don't want her as a president.
Okay, that's another.
I'm sorry.
That's another thing.
We got to go on, but I'm gonna let you say what you said. But we got to go on because we can talk about this forever. It's a nightmare.
We can keep talking about it.
No, we ain't gonna talk about it now. We got some other things we got to do. But this is a nightmare. And white women, black men, I'm disgusted with you if you didn't vote for it. I've heard a couple. I'm disgusted with you. I mean, only thing you did was vote for your slave master if you voted for Trump. And if you didn't vote, you voted for your slave master.
Yeah.
You just said he gave me a stimulus check.
That's it. That's
really? What? The only reason why you got a stimulus check is because the Democrats decided to vote to give you a stimulus check. And what happened was Trump said, if I'm going to sign this bill, my name has to be on that check.
Delayed it a week just so he can get his signature on the check.
Thank you.
I mean,
he took credit for doing it.
Yep.
Yeah, and he's going to take credit for a whole bunch of stuff. But I'm telling you, what is the pomp and stance, all of the grandeur, everything is going to be great for his inauguration. It's going to be laid down because this man got us set. Like I said, we was playing checkers. We did not pay attention. For someone to tell you all of the stuff he's going to do to you when he get in office, the first thing that he's going to do and you don't do anything or be alert, bells ringing, cross guards saying, hurry up on the other side, he's about to shut down this resource, that resource. If you're an immigrant, say bye-bye, because he did say, that's the first thing I'm going to do is to get rid of you. If you go miss your family, they could go with you too. I do not understand how that one man got that much power. And I'm going to just say it, he's a freaking idiot / genius. It's two polar opposites, but he did it. He pulled it off, and it worked. A lot of people, we just didn't think he's stupid, he's foolish. He get on the air and act like a orange crone or whatever, but he got back in office.
Well, I'm just gonna say this because I know you're getting a little hyper over here.
Because I can't stand that man.
Hosea 4:6 says the people,
Jose, hey Jose. Let me see.
Stop. Hosea 4:6 says the people perish for the lack of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
What happened here was, that's what that says, and I'm going to dispute this just a little. The people perish because of racism.
Oh, not lack of knowledge, the racism in this case.
We have put our trust in the hands of a demon.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think. I mean, almost every news center around, legitimate news centers other than Fox, and I don't call them legitimate, were saying that Trump shouldn't be there. He had more people to say that Trump shouldn't be in office that was in his last administration than has ever happened at all. And the only reason this man is in the office is because of racism. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to leave it at this. I think we were bamboozled again.
You think?
I'm going to say this. Because we were fooled into the belief that if we put Harris in there over Biden, she would win. And I think that white people would have said, Biden is not the brightest, but I'd rather have him in there than Trump. They wasn't ready to say that about Harris. And the Democrats, as you said, was playing checkers and they were playing chess. If we can get him out of there, we'll have a better chance to win because white people are not going to vote for this black person.
It played out effortlessly.
We got to go. Hey, it's Kenny's Choice with music. So we're going to let him play that. And then for those of you all on Facebook and YouTube, stay with us. Hope you like the new thing we got here. But stay with us. We got some stories we're going to share when we come back. So listen up. We'll be right back. All right. For those Facebook, YouTube, what you got, babe?
First of all, I want to thank our listeners, and one of them in particular, Doug. We
Doug,
love and
yeah.
appreciate you. Second one, Smitty Shelton Smith. He said he loved our nice look.
Yeah,
we
thank
appreciate
you.
you. And Mary, thanks for tuning in. My little sister, I'm praying for
Yeah.
you.
Silly.
Thank you for.
Hi, Silly.
Oh, what you say? She?
What's her last name?
Scylla.
Scylla. Okay. Scylla.
Okay.
Okay. Scylla.
Stop. Thank you for checking. I'm like checking in.
Love you,
with
Mary.
us.
Give my shout out to my boy E.
Okay. And he's gonna be leaving us soon, but we gonna be praying for you
He's gonna be
too.
leaving us soon. What are you talking about?
He's going back to where we want to take a
Okay, he's
visit
gonna be
to.
traveling.
Traveling. I
Okay,
didn't mean
thank
leaving
you.
this
He's
world.
gonna be leaving us soon. I mean,
Traveling.
like
Now they say the third time is the charm.
third time.
That didn't work for P. Diddy at all.
Oh, my goodness.
So we're going for the fourth try. Diddy's attorney make an offer that the district attorney can't refuse. They are saying that now. He done tried 3 times to get out of there, posting, coming up with $50 million for a bail package plan before the trial. While he awaits the trial, he is probably losing his mind where he's locked up. And I just have no sympathy for him. I can pray for him. I just don't have the empathy or sympathy for him. But the lawyer now is saying his legal team put a great package together for him. And I mean, to me, with that package, it seems as though, well, he just gonna have an ankle bracelet on, doing whatever he doing in one of his New York homes or his Miami home. Whether he don't have access to a lot of stuff, he got people, limited people, that could come and share stuff with them.
Well, I'm gonna tell you all this. You heard it first on Let's Stay Together talk show. Diddy's gonna make a deal to be loyal to Trump, and Trump is gonna get him out of jail.
I bet he
You're
probably
hearing
will.
it now. I mean, he's gonna make a deal to be loyal to Trump, and Trump's gonna get him out of jail. I think that this is what money and power can do for you. Constantly coming up with these deals to get somebody out of something.
So he gonna be indebted to him for life.
Right. I mean, because by himself, they're not gonna let this black man come out of jail. You saw it already with R. Kelly. R. Kelly has some money too, by the way. You do know that. R. Kelly has some money. Chocolate City got him a lot of money. Got a lot of money. He had a lot of money. He's still in jail. Okay, still in jail. They got an R. Kelly wing for him right now. He's gonna be there for a long time, long time.
He got the Chi-Town wing.
Yeah, I mean, only way that Diddy gonna get out is that he's gonna have to find some way to get some powerful white man to help him out, and that powerful white man, you heard it first here, is gonna be Donald Trump. You're gonna start hearing about that.
Wait a minute. The fly guy say Diddy is still done for. You know what? Diddy and what's his face? Isn't it 3 of them in there in the music thing?
Ron Isley is out though. I don't know who else.
Ron wasn't in jail.
Ron was in jail for a while, wasn't he?
Anybody know the answer to that? Let us know. I don't think Ron did distance himself so far from this stuff.
Ron was in jail. I know that much.
Oh.
You look it up. I think Ron Isley was. I don't know who the other one is. I know it's R. Kelly. Wasn't Suge Knight in jail too? I don't know if he's a singer.
Yeah, he was.
But whoever. I mean, I don't listen to all that stuff, so I'm trying to help out. For those who may know, let us know. But I think that with P. Diddy is, I mean, it's all about money and power. He's trying to make the right decisions. He's trying to pay people off so that it doesn't go to court. That's what they're hoping this thing is going to do. That I can pay off enough money to do that. But the question of the matter is, if he gets out, will he be able to still have that same fame?
Yeah, they gonna fly.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if that's the case because a lot of people might be afraid to associate with him.
I know something else that came up with this since we talking on the Diddy thing here with the Ellen DeGeneres thing of how she used to go to the parties and hang out with them, but with her person that used to work on her show that claimed that he committed suicide. We're gonna finish talking about this a little later. It just saddens me if that's true. Her and Diddy has something to do with why he committed suicide, or did they fake the whole thing?
Why? Who committed suicide?
Twitch, Boss, or whatever his name is.
Okay. Hey, we got about 15 seconds before we go on back on Sword Radio. Just want to make sure you all are here so we go back. Hey, we got a lot of things to talk about, so stay with us as we go back. All right, everybody, welcome back to Let's Stay Together Talk Show. Your host, Reverend Rick McCain, along with my baby, my girl, my boo, author Brenda McCain, author Ife Design Club 50, author, the theater critic, show.
Number one position, your wife.
Hey, I like that. That's a good one. Number one position, your wife. We're back on the show here. Speaking of shows, what?
Before we go on with that, Smitty answered your question.
What is he?
Let me lift up my phone.
Yes, please.
Ron Isley spent 37 months in prison.
Thank you.
He went to federal prison in 2006 for tax evasion.
Yeah, there you go. I knew he was in there for something.
Thank you, Shelton.
Hello.
Oh, but you don't
Hello. It's
okay.
me.
While he's singing, Kenny, he been really singing.
I'm behind the bars for a long time.
Okay, you know I love that music. Wait till we get off the air.
I don't know why they won't let me out.
Stop singing the Isley.
I want to leave.
That's my favorite group, everybody. Stop it. But I do want to say this before we move on. Since Mr. Smith is on here, congratulations to Shelton Smith. The Chicago Fly Guy is being honored this Saturday for the Monarch Awards from the AKAs. And I love that because my sister-in-law, that is her chapter And we're going to have a great time honoring you, Mr. Smith.
And this is in Chicago, since this thing is
This
everywhere.
is in, the Chicago
I didn't
area
realize,
for
I didn't
suburbs.
realize, Sheldon got free advertisement. We got to.
Yes, he does
Yeah,
for
yeah,
this
free
because
advertisement,
Vanessa
okay.
getting free advertisement too.
She need to be. She need to be paying me. Hey, so we got something we're going to talk about here. Speaking about shows, make sure you watch the JD Morning Show each Wednesday between the hours of 6 and 8 a.m. only on Sword Radio. You can have Justin, Kenny, and the gang talking about some amazing topics. And speaking about something amazing, SOAR 2025 is in Chicago.
We got to talk to
It's going to be
Kenny,
in
too.
Chicago this year, and so we're going to be excited about that. You're going to be hearing more about it as time comes on, but we're going to have great singers. All of the great singers that you know are coming to this. I mean, the SOAR Awards now is the top two.
Yes.
It's Stellar and then it's SOAR. And you want to make sure you're here in Chicago. And what is Hannah's church name? I forgot the
They
name
call
of the
it,
church.
what is the Oasis was where
Something
it's
like
going to
that.
be.
Is that
at,
John
though.
Hannah's church here in Chicago? I forgot the name of it, so forgive me for that.
The
But
venue.
it's going to be March the 4th and the 5th. Am I
Third,
right
I
about
think.
Kenny?
The
What's the
third
date?
here,
Because I don't
right?
see the thing in it right now. But I think it's in March, the first week of March. I think it's the first Monday in March. But we'll clarify that. But the SOAR Awards will be here in Chicago. Hey, and if you're looking also to do your own radio show on SOAR, you can contact them at soar@soarradio.com. That's soar@soarradio.com. And make sure while you're listening to all of the music, there are some great shows also on SOAR Radio. So check out the list of all the great shows that are out there that you can listen to on SOAR Radio. It's a 24/7, 365-day show with great music and great shows that are on there, like the Let's Stay Together talk show. So check them out. What you got?
I just wanted to piggyback on the SOAR Awards. I believe it's March 3rd next year, 2025. But the honoree of the show this year is Yolanda Adams. So if you are a Yolanda Adams fan, come on out. We're going to start promoting soon when we get the green light to do that. Just knock that out the box because it's a lot of celebrities that's going to be here in Chicago for this.
So I got the thing up in front of me now. So the SOAR Awards is going to be on March the 3rd, 2025 at 7 p.m. That's a Monday. It's going to be at the Greenwood Oasis at 7621. That's 7621 South Greenwood Avenue. Yolanda Adams is going to be the icon
Is Karen
honoree.
Clark on there this year?
I'm going to finish reading if you let me. Smokey Novel is going to be on there. Gene Moore, Zachary Cortez, Dr. Matthew Stevens, Tasha Page Lockhart, Lisa Page Brooks. You've got Jacqueline Carr, Melvin Crispel III, Karen Clark Shears, Crystal, was it Akeland, and the Sheena Ballard. Am I saying Deshana Ballard?
I have to see it.
You know who she is. What you
Oh,
call her?
Lisa Ballard's daughter or daughter-in-law.
Is it Deshana?
I have to see it.
Okay, I think it's Deshana Ballard is going to be there as well. So make sure you check this out. This is the SOAR Awards that are coming to Chicago, and I'm telling you, it is amazing. And if Jacqueline Carr is there, this girl almost gives a concert herself. And
Come
what
on
we
now.
do every year is that they have like new singers coming out there.
The local.
We locals, so we play their music through like in February every year to showcase those people. So you'll get a chance to hear some of the great music from those who are looking to be stars like this star. But make sure you check out SOAR 2025. That's on March the 3rd, 7 p.m. That's a Monday. You're here in Chicago. Get your tickets. I'm gonna tell you something. Those tickets are going to go fast. So get your tickets now. You can contact me at soarradio.com, or you can also go to, I think it's Eventbrite. Kenny, are you still there? I don't know if there's Eventbrite that you can go to that's on there as well, but we'll get more information for you on that. Hey, baby, what's the next thing we're going to be talking about?
Okay, the next thing we will be talking about is why did I get married? Marriage remodeling.
Marriage remodeling. So we've got a little project that we're working in here in the house, doing some remodeling here and there, some touch-ups here, touch-ups there, trying to, get some things going. And it made me think about it because, it's an ongoing process. Of course, everything is, you have things, everything is messed up because you have to move everything out of the way that where the person is going to be remodeling. We have a wonderful young man who comes in and help us out, but you have to move everything out of the way. So we got like 2 different rooms that we had to move things, and so now all that's got to go somewhere else. 3 actually. Everything has got to go somewhere else. So everything else is kind of junky, and everything just everywhere. We got some new things, but everything is everywhere. And it made me think about marriage because marriage remodeling. There are some times where things just it's everywhere. You're remodeling, things change. You're trying to work on one thing, and then something else is going to be messed up, and you got to understand, how do you go through the process of handling those things. So I looked up this information I thought was very interesting, and they gave about 4 different things that I thought was nice. It says, check your foundation, practice the art of compromise, trust each other, and the last one is prioritize your relationship. I don't know if did you have some stuff that you wanted to talk about this before we go into this?
I'm gonna jump in.
Oh wow, you're gonna jump in? Okay, it's hot scotch. Jump in. So the first thing is saying it was like prioritize your marriage, and I was bringing up this one quote, and I'm pulling it up in front of here. The Bible says in Matthew 6:33, it says, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all other things will be added unto you." When you are working or checking your foundation, you need to make that foundation is first supplied through seeking God first. In a house, the foundation of the house is key. If there's a crack in that foundation, the house can, settle the wrong way. Things can happen. The roofing, there's cracks in the wood. All kinds of things can happen if a foundation is messed up. And what our foundation, these are for Christian people, our foundation has to be Christ. And we have to understand that we have to seek first the kingdom. Seek first that foundational thing that we need most, God's kingdom, God Himself, and the kingdom of God. And we have to have His righteousness. That's almost like if you've ever seen a house show before, when they build a foundation now, they put like a wrapping around it. So the wrapping is His righteousness. There's a wrapping around it to keep, moisture and stuff like that. So like a ceiling that goes around the foundation on the outside of the foundation to keep any water or moisture, anything coming into that. And so this kind of wrapping is God's righteousness. So you have to seek God first, His righteousness. And then when we do that foundation, laying that foundation helps us with the ability to be able to move forward in the word of the Lord, and then for our marriage.
It does. I like that analogy here too. But marriage, as I always say, takes work. And the fact that you have to go through some tweaks, some changes, some updating what's there that was, fizzled out in your marriage. You want the spark to come back. You want the sizzle and the good stuff to come in the marriage. And I'm not talking just the intimacy part. I'm just talking about the connection of being with each other, communication, loving on each other. Because you could work on stuff together, going to the real remodeling, and you have 2 people with 2 different views that could clash all the time. But the joy of going through it together when you want to see the finished project with the 2 people brainstorm, with to get it together. That's actually basis in a marriage as well. 2 different people, 2 different backgrounds, 2 different ideas, but you come together and you compromise. Key word, compromise in your marriage, because you always want to please your partner. Your partner always want to please you. Now, the thing is with the marriage remodeling, it takes 2. Because when I say it takes 2, it's not just one who dictates in the marriage, this got to be this way or it ain't going to happen. You might have to break somebody down. It might have to break you down for them to see your views and everything. But that's what marriage is all about. And the fact that we love each other and we want to make it work.
So now you paraphrase and summarize almost the next thing we're talking about. So
I didn't know.
I'm staying with the foundation, because the next one is the practice of art of compromise, which you would
Which I
talk
didn't
about
even know, so
that
we're
then.
right
So, and it's called listening to the show. That's if you're listening to the show, you would have heard me say, practice the art of compromise, but that's okay.
And the sarcasm. So,
It's remodeling. That's what we're basically doing. But let me just say this. I love this thing when it says here, we're still talking about right now, check the foundation. It says here, the surface of the house, it says, in any remodeling, when any remodeling project, you must look beneath the surface of the house before you add a second story. And I like that because we're talking about the foundation. And if you have to have the foundation has to be Christ. You have to be able to look at that. But then when you're trying to build up, you know, sometimes when you're doing that, you have to realize that sometimes, let's just be honest, marriages can get rough. Situations can happen where, like we're saying right now, we're moving everything out of the way. And then there's rooms we have that are junky and they're messed up and and you know, they're cluttery and you know, you're trying to get around them, but you can't. And then you put things that you don't know where they are. And that's kind of like a relationship. Sometimes when you're in a marriage relationship, sometimes things get, you know, cluttery, and you can define, you know, the next level that you're moving to, there could be problems and issues, and you've moved things, move something moved away from something, like that love language is not there anymore because now it's stuck in another room, and you're not able to get the opportunity to share with somebody anymore because you're doing so many things, and you move things to different locations. And then you're saying, you know, this is not what I wanted. I didn't want this room to look this way. I didn't want our relationship to look this way. But yet, because you're building something and trying to change it and remodeling, sometimes something, when it gets a little bit messy, you've got to understand the premise of what you're doing. You're remodeling. You're trying to reshape a situation better than what it was before.
Good point. And another one is declutter. Sometimes a marriage could get so stagnant. Something have to shift it and move and go to a different position where you could bring it back and see the goodness in it, just like remodeling. Our house is, as we say, tore up from the floor up right now, stuff everywhere, and we both like things in its place. I like the fact that when Rick in his office, he used to his way of doing so. When I'm in my office, I like everything just to be neat and clean for I could focus and create. Now everything is cluttered. And I'm thinking about, as in a marriage, everything could be cluttered in a marriage. You got bills, you got your children, you got finances, you got health. Sometimes everything just seems like, okay, I feel as though we're living in a box full of mess, and we have to pull something out and see if it works, if it sticks. But that's the best part of a marriage right now. Right now, you get to declutter the things you want to keep in your marriage. You declutter the things that you say, I'm about to toss this, we don't need it no more. Just like in remodeling. With me, I can't hold on to sentimental things. I don't want to keep it. And Rick would be like, it gotta go. So we have to compromise. And it's like, but you're going to get something to replace it. And in marriage, don't you giving me this
Lord
point?
have mercy.
And in marriage, you could get something to replace the anger, the pain. You could fill it up with the love and the joy.
So why don't we just go to the next thing, practice of art of compromise, since you keep on bringing that up, even though we're still talking about foundation. So we could talk about
Go
the
ahead,
art of
'cause you know I'm
compromise,
there.
because
I'm
the
there.
practice of compromise. The second one is the practice of art of compromise. And so I want to read something to you, since Brenda then jumped to it already.
I didn't hear you say that.
And I'm trying to find it right now. But compromise is something that we all need to learn to do. You know, it says, Amos 3:3, it says, how can two walk together unless they agree? In the state of compromise, you have to be able to, when you're in marriage remodeling, you have to be able to appreciate each other's thought about how the house or your home of your marriage is going to be remodeled. It can't be, I want this, and that's the way it has to be. You know, one person may see a blue color, another person may see a violet color, and they're gonna say, "Well, I don't want this. I don't. And this is. I'm the one that takes care of the house, Rick." But it's all of this uncompromising ways. But you have to be able to see that both of y'all live in the house, and that you both want to be able to enjoy certain things, and it can't be in your marriage when you're remodeling. You've got to understand that remodeling means that you are changing for the best. Nobody remodels their house to make it look worse. You're remodeling because what you have now is still good, but you want to update it. It's just like when you get a brand new TV. Back in the 50s, you look at things in black and white. Now you got 4K.
Floor model.
It's still a TV, but it's now updated. And so in your marriage remodeling, you're remodeling, but you have to be able to compromise, and two people walk together. Now, let me just say this. It doesn't mean that you have to agree with everything. Like, no, I don't think this should be blue. Because Brenda picked the colors in his house. It didn't bother me. Brenda's a graphic designer. She can be a little bit procrastinating and change things a lot. We won't go with that. But she has a better eye of what she wants, and I know she will probably be more happier with the color she's chosen. We agree on that. It doesn't mean that I gotta say, no, I don't agree on that. I agree that it'll make her more happier with the thing. And it was 3 different colors. It came out great. But it was me saying the compromise was, it didn't matter to me if she made the decision on that. I said, I feel that she has a better, opportunity to, and even though I feel I have the same eye too, but I said, hey, baby, you go ahead and do this. This is okay with me. And that was a compromise. So compromise doesn't mean we both have to be together. I brought this up before when I was talking about one time that, a couple having 2 different checking accounts, and the person said, that's not walking together. It is if that's what they want to do. Right. And so compromise doesn't necessarily mean we both have to agree on the same thing. It just says that we both agree on the direction we're going. Now, if Brenda's taking the lead on that direction and we agree with that, then that's fine. And I think people need to understand that walking together in compromise, the art of compromise is understanding that it's not going to be equal. It's going to be something that you equally agree on, but not equally dispense on who does what. Right. And you have to understand that as well. Mm-hmm. The third thing we're going to talk about with that is going to be trust each other. Wow. I'm going to tell you something. There's a lot of couples out there that will say they trust each other, but inside that doubt comes up all the time. And it doesn't seem like that. You'll say, oh, you go ahead and do that. And then, do I really want them to do that? And trust is a key part of remodeling, because you have to be able to say, I trust you're going to want to remodel this marriage to a way that it benefits us both. And not just benefit you. I trust that if you make a decision, that I know that decision is going to benefit us more than just yourself. And to go through a remodeling of relationship, and we're not talking about this has to be a bad relationship, because we're going through a remodeling of the house, and it's not because the house was bad. We just want to update it. So we're not saying, oh, well, we got to go through a remodeling because our relationship's not going to. No, it's just an upgrade. But you have to be able to trust each other to say, hey, I know that when Brenda makes a decision, whatever she's doing for us, she's going to make sure that it benefits both of us in a marriage. And she has to have that same trust. Without it, it's very difficult, because then you allow, Satan to be able to step in and cause doubt on why do you got to remodel your relationship? What's wrong with the way it's going? And then you let other people come in that situation. It can cause so many problems. So trusting each other is such a big fundamental process of a marriage in itself, but when you're trying to remodel it and make things better, I think a lot of times people get stagnant in relationships and they say, "We ain't doing anything anymore. We was here for the kids. We didn't grew. I want to go here. He want to go there." Well, then it's time to remodel. To look at what's going on and trust each other enough to say, "Hey, I love you enough that I want to remodel this relationship. We ain't having no hard times, but I want to make sure we don't get to a point where it becomes difficult. Let's look at things. Let's re-examine. Let's talk about it. What is it that you want? I trust that you care about me. You trust that I care about you. But let's talk about it so we can get that trust moving in forward instead of just staying stagnant and just saying, well, he likes doing that. He goes golfing and I'm at church. You have those things happen sometimes. But that's not a trust because you're separating your relationship so much where you're not with each other. And then one of the things I do love about me and Brenda is that a lot of times we go to places together. Now, she'll talk to different people and I'll talk to different people. Like we go to church together. We do the radio show together. We go to plays. We do play reviews. She'll go talk to other people. But we do, a lot of things together. There's some things that she does separately. There's some things that I do separately. But we do spend time together with each other. That's fun, and we still enjoy it. But it has to have that trust. I did a lot of talking. I'll let you do that.
Yeah, and it's people who, in the beginning, and in the beginning of a marriage, you have to have trust. In the middle of the marriage, you have to have trust. I'm not going to say in the end of the marriage, however long God wants you guys to be together. It have to be a form of trust with one another, because I knew of someone back in my banking days. She overheard me calling you, babe, and telling you, "Hey, I made it to work." And she said, "Oh my God, he don't trust you. You have to check in like that." And I told her, I said, "I don't have no problem letting my husband know I made it to work safe." And she said, "Oh, we don't do that." And it's like, the world is crazy. Anything could happen. It's just a general thing of loving. Hey, I made it. You made it. We still do that to this day. It's, to me, for someone to say, "I can, I won't," that person having so much control. Are you serious? That's what I'm saying. In a form of trust, it's not someone trying to dominate over you. That, they insecure. You got to build up their trust and you have to call or check with them, this, and that. No, it's called love. If you love someone, you're going to make sure they made it to their destination safe. If you love someone when they're leaving out for work, because every time you leave out the door, I'm saying, "Baby, be safe, love you," or something. Some people can say, "Okay, that's doing too much." No, it's not. Because I would hate to know I'm in a relationship with someone and they didn't care enough. You ain't heard from me all day. You ain't checked in. You ain't called to say, "Babe, are you okay? How your day going?" Any little thing or text. That's what I say. It is a form that in marriage, remodeling in marriage, if you never done that one particular thing, try it. You might really like knowing that someone love you enough to check in on you.
And the thing about it is that some people saying, "Well, we don't have to go through all that much," and you're absolutely right. There are some relationships out there that people have been together for 30, 40 some odd years, and they don't go through the process of checking up on each other, spending time with each other, and they look at that as a successful marriage, and that
works for them.
And that works for them, then that's fine. I think, but the thing about it is that you want to be able to, your marriage is supposed to be able to honor God and show a commitment and love for God unconditionally. And just checking in on something, it's like, I want to make sure that Brenda's made it safely. I mean, we love looking at Dateline 2020 and stuff like that.
Friday night, baby.
and a lot of these shows, when we watch it, like, people don't even know whether well, I haven't talked to them in a while. And then there's some that says, well, it's not like such and such not to call, because they, there is a check on each other to make sure everything's okay. We live in a dangerous, crazy world. Yes, we God is our protector and provider, but just having that one, hey, I want to just make sure you're safe. You remember Mama used to say, "Hey, call me when you get there."
Mm-hmm.
You know, even back in the 60s, said, "Let me know where you going. How you gonna get there? Who you going with?" Blah blah blah. I mean, that wasn't Mama being nosy. That was Mama being concerned. And so we should have that same concern in our marriages as well. The last thing we're going to talk about, which I thought was like very, very important. I don't know if you got a comment you want to add.
Do.
Yeah.
People don't understand various levels of intimacy. Unfortunately, many people misdefine and misunderstand what a relationship looks like and feels like. It's called the miseducation of relationships. That it is.
Yeah, it is. And the thing about it is that we need to be very concerned about our relationship. And you want your relationship, your marriage relationship, to be like your relationship with God. And if you have a relationship where you don't check in with God, hey, I ain't heard from God in a long time. I haven't talked to. Well, we don't. Me and God, we don't spend no time with each other. But I know I still love him, and I don't need to go to church, to be, a God. I don't have to read the Bible, to God still love me. I still love. That's not the kind of relationship that God wants. He wants a relationship where that you all have an intimacy and a love relationship and a language of talking and sharing and being with each other, and that's what you want to trickle down into your marriage as well.
I want to say this. If you don't, actually, this is called old age. Oh, if you don't check in, someone might check out. And you know exactly what I mean by that.
Yeah, I mean, that happens and stuff like that. But we're trying to talk about, I want people to have a positive side on this of remodeling, that you just do these things because it's beneficial and it helps the relationship. If you, call in to someone, it's just showing that you care. The last one I thought was really important because it says prioritize your relationship. And I will say this to the counseling that I've went through with a lot of people is that a lot of relationships that I know or seen, their marriage is not number one. It's not. I mean, if they got kids, the kids is number one. There are some people, the job is more than the relationships. Some men like the cars more than that.
The game.
My dog. I mean, there's so many money. There's so many things, and there was one person I knew that said that to me. I'm like, wow, your dog over your wife.
Yeah, some of them do.
And when we prioritize our relationship or our marriage, we've got to ask ourselves, where is it? Where do we prioritize that? Is it number one? I let people know all the time. We're not putting God in this category because we're talking about earthly things, but I let people all know all the time. My number one priority is my wife. Okay, my marriage, my wife is my number one priority. I'm going to make sure she's taken care of before anything else because that's my number one priority. The Bible tells me that I'm supposed to love my wife as God loves the church. And so she's number one. But I've seen a lot of times, Brenda, where people in marriage, especially with counseling, and I've seen it just in general, where that person that they're married to or their marriage is not at the top of the list. And in some cases, it might not even second or third.
Right. I was saying some of them number 4 or 5.
Or some people, they don't even think, well, I don't have to categorize my marriage. You do. And how you react toward your person. If that spouse is not important to you, it's priority. And Brenda would say something, and I would say, you don't have to say, be safe. But it prioritized her relationship. My husband is leaving. I want him to return. So
he's leaving as a black man. So yeah.
I want to make sure he comes home. And so it's almost like a spiritual blessing over my life. Be safe. And you think about it sometimes like, why, and I've even said this before. I'm like, what do you mean be safe? But then you realize it's like, well, I'm going out into the world. Anything can happen. We've seen it many times. You could be driving somewhere and a stray bullet can hit you, or you get hit in a car or something like that. We had a friend of ours who was walking down the street and got hit by a car from behind and got killed. Just walking down the street. And so be safe means that I'm prioritizing my relationship to this person being my number one concern. And I think a lot of times with relationships, we don't make our marriage our number one concern. Because if you have children and they see that your marriage, your relationship with your husband, your relationship with your wife is number one importance, then they understand what they should do. Train up a child in the way he should go. They see, look at daddy. Daddy made sure mama was number one. As a man, when I grow up, I want to make sure that my wife is number one. My girlfriend is number one. You're training that boy to prioritize that relationship. You're letting that young lady see this is the kind of man that I want in a marriage. And we have to be able to put our relationship to the top priority. So when you're doing a remodeling, maybe some of the remodeling you need to do is prioritizing what you need to change. What do I need to change? Do I need to move my marriage up a little because I've allowed situations and things and life to kind of bring it down? Do I need to do that? And so marriage remodeling allows you to sit there and say, where is my marriage, the percentage of my marriage in my life? And if it's below number one, what do I need? What do I need to change or remodel to get it back to a point where it looks nice and it's number one in my relationship?
People, as we always say, marriage takes work on both ends. Both of the parties in the union need to step up and do what they need to do to please one another. It's so many couples that started off with us 30 years ago that's not together. And some of them I just assumed still was together because I didn't hear anything. But when I did hear, they didn't even stay married 10 years. It's like, wait a minute, where was that the last 20 years in this? Because you see people, you just assume, which is what they say, stop making assumptions, that everybody is in a marriage like you are. But one of the things that's most clear to me that came to me recently with a single friend, and she, people see us and just think is a perfect marriage, or Rick got Brenda spoiled and they cute, they do their little banter. Y'all know we transparent. We go up and down, show everything, every emotion. And that individual did tell me that's what I love about you guys, because you just lay it right on out. But she said to me, I want someone to care for me. I'm always caring for someone. And she's in this, she's single in a dating thing. And she said, these people, these men out here, they just don't seem to care. It's like I'm in an endless relationship. We just there. And we call ourselves dating. And I thought about it. I'm like, what do you really want out of this relationship? For him just to pick up the phone and say, I love you. You've been in a relationship, you don't hear, I like you, I love you. You just wondering, okay, I'm in here to do everything for that individual. And I look at that and say, wow, you could take stuff as for granted as a married person, and not think about somebody single looking at your relationship and wanting something that we could take for granted, with each other. It's like, oh, wow, okay, Rick will be there, Brenda be there. And it's a person longing for that. That's why I always say with people, it doesn't hurt if you are in a relationship to say that you love someone, or I appreciate you, I adore you. If you're not at the love status, or if you are in a marriage, you can still say that.
Yeah, and I think we live in a society right now where marriage is not prioritized. People are more cheating in their relationships, cheating in their marriage. You don't see any good, solid married couples even on television anymore. What you get?
going out into a world where you are seen as a threat as a black man is critical to your daily well-being. And well-being checks are essential. Yes, they are. Teach children what love looks like. It is a core factor of my mentoring, relationships, and responsibilities. Now, in a relationship, some are casual comfort, and that's what I seen of that individual. The definition of a relationship for one is different than it is for another. That's a much needed conversation that is defining. And like I said, I'm so caught up in my world. It was so good for me to hear someone else. One was married and one was single, and the different things they was talking about. The one thing that they said in this conversation, babe, was, you remind me of somebody, and I knew where she was going with it, because you would lift Rick up in some essence of the form and bring the conversation, you add him in and bring the conversation back to, hey, have you guys tried this? And it made me think of our girl, Lisa Ballard.
Mm-hmm.
No matter where she at, and if her husband, Pastor Ballard, is not around in the same room with her, she's going to lift her husband up.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that in a marriage, in a relationship. If you with that person, you will hope you lifting them up, right?
Yeah. And Lisa Ballard, if you're listening, it's Brenda's fault that you haven't been on the show
I'm
yet.
calling you.
Because she need to put Lisa Ballard. Lisa Ballard is a dynamic preacher, minister, pastor,
evangelist, all that.
Woman of God. I mean, she's just. I mean, that's like Energizer Bunny times 10. I mean, and just anointed with Christ, and so we love her.
The Petty
for that.
LaBelle of the spiritual world.
I got a new attitude,
and she kick off her shit.
And she's doing some new things right now as well. But make sure we prioritize our marriage. Is your marriage number one? And if it's not, what remodeling things you need to do to get it back? Sit down and talk with each other. And just make sure that you're remodeling your relationship to a point where you're making sure that the presence of God, because we've got to remember that God is in the marriage. The presence of God, people can see that their marriage is number one, that person in that marriage, or those people, God and your wife, God and your husband, they are prioritized to a point where everybody can say, I don't care what you can say about her. I don't care what you say about him. You can tell that their marriage is number one, that they prioritize it to be number one. So if your marriage is not there and you need to do some remodeling, prioritizing your marriage is very important. We talked about the foundation. We talked about trust. We talked about priorities. And I think there was one that I'm missing, and compromise. But prioritizing is very important in the marriage as well. So we got to go on. We've got Kenny's Choice playing some music. We didn't have a guest today. We was trying to get someone on there, and I got to call Justin because I want to have him on the show because he is Soul Radio, so we're going to have him on the show and talk to him because of JD morning shows he does. So I'll see if I can get him involved in that. And I'm trying to get us some other shows. There's a couple other shows that I haven't been able to get yet. We were featuring a lot of the shows. We stopped a little because of the election. We're going to try to get, I think, about 2 or 3 more shows that I'm trying to get on, and Justin, the JD Morning Show as well. But, hey, listen up to this music we're going to have. This is Kenny's Choice. And for those of you all that still listen to us, Facebook, YouTube, we got another thing we got to come up with, another subject, a topic we're going to talk about. So stay with us. Listen up. We'll be right back. All right, so what you got for us, babe?
We all do it.
We all do it.
We can't help but to do it. And some of us stay in there and do it a little longer than others. I'm talking about going to the bathroom. Don't sit on the toilet for more than 10 minutes. The doctor says you can mess up your body. Now, we know back in the day, in the 50s, 60s, 70s, early 80s, and 90s, we would check a magazine, a newspaper, and sometimes people would take a phone with the long cord and go in the bathroom and sit there for 20, 30 minutes reading the newspaper.
I'm talking to my boo.
Yeah, with the cord going through the doors and everything. And it is, sometimes that's your sanctuary. And I'm going to be honest. I'm always honest here. The title of this, it kind of hit me because my bathroom is my sanctuary since we're transparent. And the doctors is warning us, saying that we all got to go. This ain't just about wiping yourself with insurance toilet paper. 10 minutes or less, get in and get out. Because just to paraphrase this whole story from Dr. Lay Exu, she said erectile dysfunction will mess up your body, giving you hemorrhoids, colon problems. Because literally what she was saying, babe, I do. I take my cell phone in, I read, and I slunch down. That is not what you're supposed to do while you're waiting for exit number 2.
I could say this story is full of, but I won't.
But it really is full of, because you ain't getting it out.
Here's the thing that I kind of wonder when I saw that story. How do you prioritize 10 minutes? I mean, historically, since we found a way to do this, number 2, I would say, people have always sat down for a period of at least 10 minutes. But what historical knowledge or facts or analysis or data did this person come up with and said over 10 minutes can mess you up?
Okay.
I'm not asking you to answer that question. I mean,
I'm
but
talking about from here.
Yeah, okay, but go ahead.
Okay, from here.
Even if she's gonna tell me, and I'm still like 10 minutes, really?
Gravity keeps us grounded on Earth. But that same gravity also forces the body to work harder to pump blood back up to the heart. Now, if you have problem with doing a number 2, usually you're taking something to assist you. You're using step stools, so to speak, to help push stuff down. Or you propping your body. It's like, okay, while I'm reading a magazine or looking at the phone, you're out of position to make this happen. So when you're straining, if you're not going regularly and you're straining, you're messing up those muscles and recontracting them. And when you're doing that, that could lead to hemorrhoids.
I understand that, but you could do that in 2 minutes.
You'll get
if you're straining.
But you don't supposed to.
I understand, but that has nothing to do with duration of time.
But their connection is, if you're sitting there minding your poop business and not catching up on the news in the paper or on your cell phone, reading different gossip, reading stories or whatever, you could focus on releasing. And I say, you know what? I'm gonna really focus on that.
Yeah, okay.
Why are you disagreeing with the doctor?
It's because it's one doctor. You know, you remember back in the 60s, they say 9 out of 10 doctors choose Pepsodent. Not was it the toothbrush? I can't even say this stuff now. Why did the one doctor didn't agree? They didn't want it to be like it was perfect. Mm-hmm. I just think that am I going to go to the doctor and the doctor's going to say, well, Rick, this is a symptom of sitting on the toilet too long. It's only supposed to be 10 minutes. So you seem like you're averaging somewhere about 15 to 20 minutes on this seat. And so we need to regulate that for you. We're going to give you, it's like, really? And I can understand that you don't want to sit on the toilet indefinitely. But this is like, this is not the Surgeon General telling us that, smoking is bad for you, can cause cancer. I just think that this woman has sat there and said, I need Pepsodent, thank you. I think some people were to sit down and say, I need to find something to write an article on to make it seem we need to change something because, because I need to have something out there. You want to change something?
No.
Let's not let Trump sit in the White House toilet for 4 years. Okay. I think this story is kind of reaching, because I'm not gonna sit there now and say, oh wait a minute, I've been here for 9.5 minutes, I gotta get up.
Well, I'm just saying we're gonna agree to disagree because some of the stuff she said when I had my colonoscopy, last year or the year before last, the doctor did say some stuff like that. And I'm like, and I actually told them that the bathroom is my sanctuary. I get my praying on, my daily reading, and when I keep in my mind focused on God, He relieves me quickly.
Okay,
So,
but, let's not get into your personal
but
stuff.
I'm just saying,
I'm just saying,
different stuff.
there's a big difference between the time that you sit on a toilet seat
I've
to
been
10 minutes.
I've
I mean,
been
how do
almost
we
25 minutes.
how do we get to the point where 10 minutes is the maximum time you should
Let's
sit
see
there?
what they say.
I don't care what she says.
Are you
okay?
through with this
You're-
article?
Yeah,
You
I'm
found?
through with this because you're trying to justify this one woman because it agrees with some of the things that you're doing. It's almost like putting Trump in the White House because we agree with some. It still doesn't mean
so
it's
you
right.
You got this article to debate this.
No, I got the article because I thought it was like, yeah, really, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Hey, we're gonna be getting back on the air. I don't know, people. I don't really sit on the toilet more than 10 minutes, but I'm not checking either. You know, I'm like, hey, we got 15 seconds before I get off of this toilet seat. We gotta at least talk a little bit about this when we get back on the air. So that's just crazy to me. Here we go, everybody. All right, everybody, welcome back to Let's Stay Together Talk Show. Soar Radio listeners, welcome back to Let's Stay Together Talk Show. The YouTube and the Facebook listeners got a chance to hear this crazy story we was talking about, and I told Brenda we've got to talk a little bit about it to our Soar Radio people. There's an article out there where this one doctor, Dr. Kevorkian or something, comes up with an idea that you shouldn't sit on a toilet seat for more than 10 minutes. And she gave reasons of what happened. So, Brenda, paraphrasing this, what did she say?
Dr. Zeus says,
Dr. Zeus?
However, experts warn us that what they call prolonged sitting on the toilet could harm your health. It's even been connected to an increased risk of hemorrhoids and weakened pelvic muscles. Or, I believe this is colorectal surgeon at the University of Texas, what she is, when patients present her with complaints of having a bad stomach issue, one of the main areas we have to delve deeply into is spending too much time on the toilet. You should not do it no more than 5 to 10 minutes. Get in and get out. And they actually suggest now, babe, that do not bring your cell phone in the bathroom because 9 times out of 10, you're going to be sitting there reading everything that's on your phone.
Wow. I mean, I wouldn't want somebody sitting more than 5 minutes on the toilet in an airplane because at that point, there are other people who want to go to the bathroom. But at my own personal home, I just think that the story is kind of reaching because I'm not going to sit there and say, hey, I've been on this toilet for 8 minutes. I need to get off.
Just treat it as if you are in a public bathroom.
Yeah.
You get in and get out.
I mean, there's so many things that, people are talking about that are good for you, that's not good for you. This is good for you. And I just think I can understand that prolonged sitting on a toilet seat can cause maybe some issues. I've never heard of anybody having any issues with sitting on the toilet seat long time. Mr. McCain, you've been sitting on this toilet for too long. That's the problem. The symptoms of what you're having here on your butt hurting is because your toilet seat usage. You need to cut that down from 20 minutes to 10. We can give you a prescription. No. I think this is a person who found something that they wanted to write on so they can write something. I don't even know if this story is true. We got to find out if even a doctor. Mm-hmm. I just thought it was kind of interesting that someone took the time to monitor the time that you should sit on the toilet and the time you need to get up. I just thought that was interesting that someone took the time to do that.
I'm going to read this comment.
Okay.
It says, Bren, I see the relevance. It can take someone more than 10 minutes or less to do their business. We should get in and get out, though. If we're multitasking, we're not focusing on our business. Maybe that's why I got sick recently. Like I said, it could go either or, because I know, I'm open. With me,
If
It's-
you're open, you don't have to say you're open.
Okay. It might take a minute if I don't drink all my water every day, just like normal people. If you don't get all the fluids in, you might have a little backup problem. But the thing is, it shouldn't be a restriction. It should be whatever works for you while you in your throne of thrones there.
I mean, there can be situations where sitting in the bathroom for prolonged periods of time can cause issues. I understand. I mean, you could walk out in the street and that can cause an issue. I'm just saying, you're saying now you should do this in 10 minutes or something's wrong. And like the person says, sometimes it may take longer for an individual. You don't know, your digestive system, how your stomach is going to work, how your intestines are going to be able to operate to move things. I just think that this is a little bit crazy. I don't want to stay on it for a long period of time because I don't want people to they're talking about going to the bathroom.
Hey, we talk about everything that can help you.
I just thought it was just interesting that the person would take the time to say that and then put a time limit of when you beat you. Because what happens if I'm always going past 10 minutes, is something wrong? And then, this is what I don't, sometimes with doctors that worry me. Can you see a doctor sitting up there saying, now, because you're sitting on the toilet seat for more than 10 minutes, I've got to give you some kind of a medication to help you? And now you're being medicated for something that naturally should take its own course. So I look at it that way as well. I don't want to stay on it too long.
You want to do this next story?
No, we're back on the air, so you got to go to your thing now. We're back on Soar Radio, 2-time Stellar winner for Best Internet Station of the Year. Make sure you check out the JD Morning Show tomorrow between the hours of 6 and 8 a.m. only on Soar Radio. And Soar 2025 is in Chicago. It's at the Greenwood Oaks Oasis, March the 3rd, which is a Monday, 2025. Great singers like Jacqueline Carr, Yolanda Adams, and many, many more. You can find out all this information on the soar.com website. What you got?
I want to go to Let's Play first because I want to know, did we talk about Leroy and Lucy?
No, we didn't because we wasn't on last week.
Okay. Well,
Leroy and Lucy. Leroy and
Lucy. And in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, was that a...
That was Steppenwolf.
I don't know why because I didn't put it down there. But Leroy and Lucy at Steppenwolf Theater. Great play, great analogy of how the author wrote it, the playwright wrote it, and the director, they just knocked it out the ballpark. It is playing until December the 15th. We gave it 4 stars. You have to check it out because one of our faves is John Michael Hill from Elementary?
Elementary, yeah.
Oh my God, this guy, we just love him and everything he is. What do you think about it? Because you have to know who Leroy was. And I think his name was Leroy Johnson.
Yeah, it was about an old blues singer who was very famous, and they were saying it was like he sold his soul to the devil. Mm-hmm. And this is kind of going off of that, where the young lady Lucy is like even like a fallen angel. The devil, you really never know who she is, but they're doing, a discussion with each other about his life because he's leaving one life to try to pursue his dreams, and she's there waiting for him to help him out with his dreams, but yet deter him from leaving. Mm-hmm. They bring in the Bible, which is not in the Bible. I think it may be in the Catholic canon of Lilith, who was supposed to be Adam's first wife, who was rebellious, and now she's in this darkness, and he comes through, and he's talking with her, and she's telling him, you're going to be, a great musician, but people won't know you, and you won't see it in your lifetime.
Now that's pivotal, right there.
If you stay here with me, you could have a nice long life, but if you leave, your life is going to end. And I enjoyed it. I thought it was well played by both of them. But I'm going to add something here that really disturbs me sometimes when we go to plays. Because for those who don't know, me and Brenda are theater critics as well, under the title of Let's Play Theatrical Review. And we really got into that because we wanted to highlight the hidden gems of Chicagoland theaters. But mostly, we wanted to highlight the great African-American talent that's out there. And I did see some reviews of people saying they somewhat on this.
Really?
But then I remember one time we went to Steppenwolf, and I can't remember the name of the play now, that the lady from the Connors was in. And something Ridge something. And they really, the whites really loved that thing. And to me, it was just
mediocre.
an offshoot of maybe a lot of old Connor series put together in one. And I get a little bit disturbed sometimes when I see white critics not liking all black productions. And that bothers me sometimes because I don't look at it as a black or white. And that's one of the things about the black people that's there, or the African Americans, I rather say, know about us. We're going to be honest. We will support them. We will highlight them. We will lift them up. But we're going to be honest. If the play's not good, it's not good. But I think sometimes when you look at something and they try to find something good about something that's not really that good, and then something that's really good, and they say, well, this was wrong, this is wrong. And that troubles me when I see that. But I thought this was excellent. Leroy and Lucy. I thought the banter and the sex appeal and the intimacy between them and the play on words. There was a spot in between there was a little bit different because he became a demon angel himself that went into his body and was talking. It was kind of a little bit off a little bit. Overall, I thought it was excellent. And I think as anyone, not necessarily just for African Americans, you will enjoy this production, Leroy and Lucy, at the Steppenwolf Theater.
One of my favorite critics, and she's Caucasian. She's told me, because she said, "Have you ever read the book or seen the movie before?" I said, "No," and she said, "You know who I'm talking about, right?" And she said, "I'm gonna pin it off of Satan, with it." And I was like, why is she saying that? After seeing it, she was the fallen angel, because when she told him, he's like, why are you sitting in the forest by yourself? That's Satan just waiting. You have to paraphrase so much, but if you know the word of how Satan got out of heaven and everything, and he was the highest angel, she was, that person, and she said her father did not like her anymore, and he cast her out. It's like, pay attention to this. And something she said, like what you just said, you're going to be famous. You're not going to be here, but you're going to be famous. And you have to read the story, who this man was. He sort of like invented the wheel of jazz for how we know it for today. But the thing that gets me with that, it was just such a powerful play that you just felt, I don't know if it was 2 hours long or 10 minutes long. It was so powerful to make you want to say, I want to see this one again in case I missed something before. And then when I like something, I go back and read the history behind it. Like, who is this man that started the 27-year club with most musicians that get at the highest peak in a short amount of time, and they out of here by the age of 27?
Let me say, when she said, my father threw me out, that's why I said they brought up the thing of Lilith, and I was bringing this up. Lilith is not mentioned in the Bible, but she's a prominent figure in Jewish and Mesopotamian mythology, as being supposedly Adam's first wife, who was rebellious, and because of her rebellion of not being obedient to Adam, which is where she was supposed to be, she was cast out. And that's why you hear when she says, my father, didn't want me to be here anymore. That's why I was at. And so they bring that in there as well. And just to give you a little, thing about it is that Jewish and Mesopotamian mythology, in Jewish mythology, Lilith was often depicted as Adam's first wife, created in dust and earth from like Adam. Lilith is said to have left the Garden of Eden after refusing to submit to Adam, and became a demon who seduced men, murdered children, and bred evil spirits. So that's, they brought that into the story, but it's not a part of the biblical canon that we have. But it's just, a mythology that's brought in through Jewish and Mesopotamian mythology. So it's a part of that. It's for that. But I thought it was, the acting on it was excellent. It's like 90 minutes, and you really enjoy every part of it. So great job there for the play. And what is it called again? I forgot.
Leroy and Lucy.
All right. So what we got next?
Okay, we're gonna just say Club 50 got a great one coming up next week with a beautiful lady. I'm just gonna call her Ace, and we're gonna be talking about lupus. Things you need, even though this is not the month for awareness for it, neither is next month. This is someone you need to know that has a story to share. So check it out at theclub50.com. Again, with all my people, I love you guys. Ife Design is loving up on all of you guys. Thank you. Holiday season is coming up. We already went through Halloween. We got Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's coming up. So you got to have those flyers out for those parties, those menus for Thanksgiving, Christmas, postcards, cards, whatever you want. Come on, let's go on and get it done here. I appreciate you. Where can they reach me, babe?
They can reach you at ifedesigns@gmail.com. That is ifedesigns@gmail.com.
Now, this relationship letter is a good one. So I hope the people who was out here listening, you still listening, and chime in. Let's go. Dear LSTT, I'm not sure what the world is coming to. However, here is the situation that is unfolding with a dear friend of mine. It is straight out of some real BS. Her husband, who is a notorious cheater, cheated again, this time with a young lady who is 30 years younger than him. And she's pregnant. And they are still seeing one another. However, due to some abortion laws that are set in place in certain states, she couldn't get an abortion. The young lady does not want to keep the child. However, she told my friend husband if he raises him, she would not put the child up for adoption or try to get a legal abortion if their relationship continues. My friend husband asked her to help him raise the child, and although they have 2 children together, my friend is considering it. LSTT, okay, is it just me? Maybe this might have been acceptable back in the 50s, but not today. This is definitely not fences. Should a woman degrade herself when a marriage has been so rudely defiled to raise another woman's child who is still sleeping with her husband? Sincerely, you must be out of your mind.
Yeah. You said this is not fences. This is a different scenario than the portrayal of fences because the woman died. And I don't necessarily see anything wrong with her considering raising the child if that's something that she wants to do, because you don't want the child to be alienated or feeling that they were a mistake or something wrong, because I think that is that's a strength of a woman to be able to do something like that. I can understand how someone may think that they're dumb or stupid or something like that because the husband has cheated all the time. She's been with him through a lot of his cheating scenarios. Ultimately, this came up, and it is a very complex situation. So I know someone will say, I would never be with this man. I wouldn't do this. I would just say, the question is what? So the last question again was, what did she ask?
Should a woman degrade herself when a marriage has been so rudely defiled to raise another woman's child who is still sleeping with her husband?
I would not say that she's degrading herself. I think that, what she is doing is maybe looking at the child's concern more than the individual. If she's making the decision, or if she wants to do this, I don't see that as degrading, and so I would say, should she degrade herself? she's not degrading herself. Should she make the decision to do this, the decision is totally up to her. And I would say that if she's making this decision out of love for for that child, we don't never know what her situation is. She may have been in a situation, something like that. So I don't see it as degrading. I just see it as a person who is looking at the situation of what has happened, and she decided, hey, when I've had a lemon, I'm gonna try to make it into lemonade.
I'm gonna say this.
Come on,
as
Betty.
a woman.
Come on,
yeah,
Betty.
it's coming. You're a better woman than I would ever be in a situation like that. Now, granted, you said fences, and Rick picked up on that. If it was and a woman died, I could sort of work with that. But he is still in the relationship with this woman, and you're the one that's his wife. So it's okay for him to go out there and mess around and have a baby, because I don't want my baby to die, but I'm not going to end my relationship with her. But can you help me raise this child? Because we all know we don't want the child and ask to be here. We know that scenario. The child and ask to be here. So why punish the child? Why punish your wife? If you're still sleeping with that other woman, be with that other woman and raise that child, because your other woman gave you an alternative or ultimatum and said, as long as you still gonna be with me, I won't kill our child. No. So, but like I said, you are a better woman than I will ever be when it comes to that situation, because I rest assured, what I do know is that if you stepped out on your husband and you got pregnant and found out it wasn't your husband's baby, I know I messed up. Rick, can you help me raise this child? Most men would be like, boop, 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 beep, boop, boop, boop. No. So for her to do this, you're a better woman than me. But LSTT, the views of Rick McCain, it was very nice, very nice. But from a woman's standpoint, no. Sweetheart, you said he was a notorious cheater.
Let me just say this. Now, we saying, should a woman degrade herself? And I disagree with that. Here's the thing we should be asking. Should she stay in the marriage?
Right. Why are you in a marriage?
Should she stay in the marriage knowing that this man is constantly cheated on you? What is it about him that you're deciding to submit or maybe lower your standards to be with him to take care of the child? Now, if she's taking care of the child because she wants to be with him, then she has some remodeling to do. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
They have some marriage remodeling. Why are you allowing yourself to be, I won't say degrade, but why are you lowering your standards and desires to be with this man? Because there's something more involved in this situation than her degrading herself. Because, when you look at it, why would you do this? What's more going on? I don't think she's degrading herself for wanting to be there for the child and help take care of the child.
That's admirable. That is.
Yeah, that is admirable. I think you may be degrading yourself by allowing yourself to be with a man that you know is still going to be with the other woman.
Right. He told you. So it's like,
after that song, you, me, and he, what we going to do, baby? It's like, this is not a threesome for life. And you may need to start looking at the situation that I don't necessarily have to take care of the baby. I don't want nothing wrong to happen to the baby, but I don't need to be in this relationship anymore. And biblically, you have the right to leave because the person has committed adultery.
And the thing that gets me, reminds me of the Trump thing. He told you his playbook, Project 2025, and for those who voted for him, why are you upset? He told you. Your husband told you, I'm not leaving her. She's still gonna be my sidekick. She just don't want the baby. Can you help me raise the baby? Does that make sense to you?
I mean, it makes perfectly sense because he said it, but the fact of the matter is it something you should do? And I think there's an underlying situation that we don't know about as to why are you staying in this situation. I'm not speaking divorce, separation, you need to find out what's going on, and you need to talk about that. So hopefully we can talk to that person and get a little bit more information to find out why are they allowing themselves to be in a situation where their life doesn't matter more than others.
Yeah. Thank you for writing in. That was a good one. Thank you.
Yeah.
You got a few minutes in this last story.
Okay.
The Bears have it. Man who allegedly staged bear attack arrested for murder and stolen identity scheme. Wow. A man with some mental issues was in the forest. We're going to just sum this up. He was in the forest. Another man decided, I can take advantage of this and steal his identity, but I'm going to stage this so good, Rick, that people going to believe that I got attacked by a bear. What went wrong with this story is that the man by the name of Nicholas Wayne Hamlin, who was 45, was detained without incident in Columbia, South Carolina, because he killed somebody, lied and said a bear attacked him, and the ID didn't match up. This was crack me up. The ID didn't match up. So therefore, you didn't stole somebody else's identity, and they just tracked you down. And it's like, are you begging for mercy? And you didn't lie, you didn't stole, you didn't created a murder of a man who had issues, who befriended you, and you thought you guys was cool with each other. But that was not the case. So when I'm saying stories like this, it's like you can't make this stuff up. Or can you?
I think the thing about it is people don't realize that today, in today's age with the technology we have, you can really find out about someone. If a person been living 40, 50, something odd years, you just can't change their identification. Now, you might be able to get away with it with going to a job or applying for something like that, because they're not looking for. They may not be looking for a face to go with the name. But when you get caught by the police, or some kind of authorities, even sometimes banks will do that. You're saying your name is Rick McCain, but Rick McCain is black and you're Caucasian. Mm-hmm. It's like, you got the birthday of the same person, this person, the same, but that person, he's 60-something years old, he's a black man, and you're a 30-something-year-old white guy. I think some of the funny things about some of these stories, to me, we got to get out of here, is that people put no forethought. I think we talked about it before. The people perish because of the lack of knowledge. That doing something like that is just dumb. But the sad thing about it, that we're not really directing ourselves to the story, is that somebody died.
Yeah,
you chose someone to kill, to take over their identity, because you wasn't happy with your own. And that just means, again, as I circle around back to that, that's a life that needs remodeling. And unfortunately, someone had to die because of that. And I pray for the family that is that individual has passed away, and they found out that someone was just trying to steal their identity. Be yourself.
Be yourself.
And then if things are not working well, change it. Judge Mathis is a good example of that, going from prison to a judge. You can make a change, but I do feel sorry for. I feel sorry for the family of the person who died from the situation, so somebody else could falsify their lives to do something. Hey, we only got about a couple of more minutes here. We want to thank our producer, Rockford Goat, Kenny Crawford, for always making the show look good. He helped out with this new setup we have here, and kind of let us, walk us through about the things we need to do. If you've watched the show and you've got some other background ideas you think to be nice, let us know. We're working on that as well, and hopefully you like the new setup. I thought it was a bit more comfortable and relaxing.
It is cozy.
It's cozy, and so we're trying to do that. And we're thanking for you all for listening to the show, and appreciate your feedback and anything that you do. And again, remember, the Let's Stay Together Talk Show is it's almost like a non-for-profit. We don't make any money to do this. This is our service that we do to the calling of the Lord, calling us to do that. We love marriage. We done marriage ministry. We performed marriage ministry at Salem Baptist Church for about a good 10-something years. We appreciate the opportunity to do that. I still love marriage, marriage ministry, marriage teaching, and ministry. Teaching and preaching and helping with people, along with my baby, my girl, my boo. Sometimes evangelist Brenda. Sometimes
And
Betty
Betty
Shabazz,
Shabazz.
depending on which one you get in a certain minute or day. But we appreciate you being on this. And hey, please let some other people know that we're out here. We're doing this not to get a lot of people to watch the show. That is not the main goal. We're following the calling of the Lord of what we need to do. We would love to have hundreds of thousands of people watching the show. But we're not going to compromise what God has called us to do. It's a different kind of show. We started off by saying we wanted to do things, to talk about things that are taboo to the church. And we're still to that commitment of being real and honest. Two married couples who've been married for 30 years, sharing, being open, as Brenda said, openly sharing things, 15 minutes on the toilet. Those are things. What is that? But we're being honest with each other, because what it shows in our marriage is that because we're open about it to you, it shows that we're not closed to each other. And so we want to be able to share that continuously. So we're praying that you listen to the show and be with us. Hopefully we'll see you next Tuesday at 7 p.m. So for me and for my baby, my girl, my boo, Brenda, we're going to get out of here. We hope to see you next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Bye-bye. All right, Facebook, YouTube, same thing for you. We want to see you. I'm going to see if we're going to have a guest next week. We'll see if we can get somebody to come in so we have a guest in there. But we appreciate you as well. And always we appreciate the Rockford Goat for being on. Make sure you watch the JD Morning Show tomorrow between the hours at 6 and 8 a.m. only on Soar Radio. See you then. Bye-bye.